Animation has been with us for just over 100 years, with filmmaking being just about 20 years older than that. These two mediums started very similarly, with one being the flipping of actual photographs and the other being drawn imagery. They have the same DNA that, in a way, all mediums on a screen do have. Are you counting frames per second? But what are the differences between these two forms of filmmaking? And which one's better? Animation is a technique that creates motion with drawings, computer graphics, or stop motion model, while live action involves filming real people or objects. Animation is artificially created, while live action captures reality. Now, while not entirely 100% true, there are great movies that blend and mix these two mediums together. Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Space Jam being two of my favorites. Both formats have their advantages and their disadvantages, and they can be used for different purposes and genres. But in this video, I'm going to argue that animation is superior to live action, especially for certain genres. I'm going to show you how animation can be more creative, expressive, versatile, and impactful than live action, and why it deserves more recognition and appreciation. So if you're ready, let's get into it. And beware, there may be minor spoilers for certain movies or shows. With animation, artists can be more creative. Animation is not linked by the laws of physics, the constraints of reality, or the availability of resources, which is a major factor here. Sure, CG and in-frame special effects have come a long way. Full circle, one would say. But there's still knowledge from the audiences that this is CG. This is why I will always argue that in-frame special effects with live action is far superior, or at the very least, very limited use of CGI with a very high intense quality, such as Iron Man suiting up for the first time in 2008. That scene still holds up to this day, almost 20 years later. Animation can create anything that the imagination can conceive, from fantastical worlds and creatures to abstract shapes and colors, to impossible actions and movements. Animation can use different styles and techniques, such as 2D and 3D, stop motion, pixel art, anime, and even more. It can experiment with different aesthetics and expressions, and create unique and original visuals that live action cannot replicate. For example, think of the stunning and diverse animation styles of movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Nightmare Before Christmas, the Lego Movie, Spirited Away, or shows like X-Men '97 or Batman the Animated Series. These showcase the endless possibilities and creativity of animation and how it can appeal to different tastes and preferences. Animation can be more expressive. It can convey emotions, moods, and messages more effectively and efficiently than live action. It can use exaggerated and stylized features, gestures, and movements to emphasize and communicate the feelings and personalities of the characters. It can also use color, lighting, music, and other special effects to create and enhance the atmosphere and tone of the scenes. The creatives have direct control over every single aspect that's on the screen at that very moment, which at the same time is kind of the beauty of live action and filming in the real world. There are sometimes happy accidents that happen in live action, such as weather, sun setting, or even an extra throwing a can at John Malkovich.
Hey Malkovich, think fast!
Animation can use symbols and metaphors and allegories to convey deeper and more complex meanings and themes. For example, think of the powerful and emotional animation scenes of movies like Up, Inside Out, Coco, The Lion King, and many more in the Disney roster. These movies demonstrate how animation can touch and move the hearts and minds of the viewers, and how it can express what words cannot. Recently, in the last decade or so, there has been a huge amount of live action remakes of animated movies and products, from Disney doing Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, all the way to Netflix remaking animes such as Death Note, Cowboy Bebop, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. All of these are greatly superior in animation than they are in live action, without a doubt. The only exception that I would make is One Piece. Now, I haven't seen the One Piece anime. I'm starting it soon, I promise. But the show here was excellent. So big props to them on that one, to be honest. Animation can be more versatile. It can adapt and appeal to different audiences, genres, and formats. It can be used for entertainment, education, propaganda, advertising, and more. It's suitable for children, adults, everyone in between. It can be funny, scary, dramatic, romantic. It's short or long, episodic, cinematic. It can also combine and mix different elements and influences to create new and innovative forms and genres. For example, think of the works of Pixar, Disney, Studio Ghibli, DreamWorks, and many of the anime houses that you see on like Crunchyroll, for example. These studios produce animations that can cater to different needs and demands, and that can reach and satisfy different audiences all across the spectrum. Animation on average is greatly cheaper to produce than a live action feature. While there are differences in the process of setting up these different films, animation does take a lot of pre-production, planning, storyboarding, and then getting into the actual work. While live action usually does take time in the actual production phase and post-production phase. Of course, there can be a lot of previs, as in, Star Wars and a bunch of Marvel films, but as we've seen in the recent years, they've kind of opted out of prevising and then just doing it in the post. Now, what this does though is it kind of throws a wrench into the post-production process with the CG artists who are used to planning out shots, planning out a bunch of things, versus changing things on a fly, and that may be an instance why the CG in later Marvel films and other properties doesn't look so hot. I'm throwing a lot of shots at Thor and Love and Thunder in this video, huh? Oops. Some of these drawbacks do go into animation as well, since it is a collaborative art form, for the most part. You can, of course, do solo films and solo animations, but you definitely need some type of skill on both fronts. All of these take a good amount of competency with their art form, but animation does need more time in the pre-production phase. The final drawback with animation really is that it's not real. It doesn't live in reality. Everything is going to have a sheen of uncanny valley that might not be suitable for all projects. Although I have seen a lot of just slice of life animations that people are doing where people are just going about their day, or it's a dramatic piece, but just an animation. All in all, that's just some of the points that I've been thinking about for the last couple months. Really, ever since I saw the animations of X-Men 97, Marvel's What If, there's a bunch of examples on even Max with the DC stuff and what they're able to do with a bunch of DC arcs. They're turning them into animations, and they're awesome, and they're really cool, and I bet they're not as expensive as making The Flash. So with all that said, animation I do believe is a superior art form, especially when we're talking about fantastical, comic book, and other things that really don't happen in the real world. But I still do have a deep love and appreciation of live action movies. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my favorite movies, but then so is Collateral. One is fantastical and, mystical and adventurous, and the other one is a very serious drama piece with Tom Cruise. Anyways, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and feel free to leave your thoughts and comments down below. As you can see, animation is super duper powerful, and it can offer a lot of creativity and expression that live action really can't. And it's definitely not just for kids, American audiences. If you liked the video, feel free to subscribe. Also, feel free to smash the like button. It really does help push the channel out to some new people that might be interested. Also, I can't thank you enough. We just unlocked the membership ability on YouTube. So if you want to support the channel even more so, feel free to join. We're going to have a lot of cool little special things available for you all in there. Of course, you're not obligated to do so, but just an option if you want to support the channel even more. And I can't thank you all enough for tuning in and, watching my stuff. It's really crazy. It's almost been 1 year with the channel of nerddom, and I can't wait to make more stuff in the future for you guys. Definitely learned a lot throughout the year too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.